And
Right.
then we're California, I think we're going to. We're going to Chris in California. Hi, Chris, are you there?
Yes. Hi there.
How are you today, Chris?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking my phone call.
You're very welcome. How may we help you?
Well, I have been following you guys for quite some time, months now, your YouTube videos, and I've called in before and listened to this live broadcast, and so I just my heart goes out to everybody who calls in, and you guys are amazing. So appreciate what you do.
Thank you, sir.
So to get to the point here, why I'm calling is because my wife and I are basically at the end of our rope here. We've been married for 11 years next Thursday. And if you can believe this, next week, on her birthday, which happens to be the day before our anniversary, we have a court date on her birthday.
Wow.
So, interesting timing. But and that will be, I think, probably the end, because I don't know if it's going to be mediation at that point or in front of the judge, but yeah, I mean, we're literally toward the end of our 6-month.
And is your wife divorcing you, or are you divorcing your wife?
She's wanting to divorce me. She's unfortunately in an adulterous affair relationship. She's living with this other man. She's been living with him, I want to say, since April. So, and I've been fighting, trying to reason with her, and praying a lot, and going to several counselors, reading your guys' video, watching your guys' videos. I've been doing quite a bit. Some could say too much. You don't want to look desperate, of course, and I totally get about the pies. That's excellent advice. So, it's not looking good, as one of the counselors would say to me.
Yeah.
It's not looking good, but I still have faith. I am a Christian, and I believe that God can work miracles, and sometimes His timing is not our timing.
Right.
And I think the story of my life, with a lot of things in life, is there's turnarounds at the very end. I don't know why it happens to me often, but anyway, so I don't know if this is another turnaround at the very bitter end, but I just am hoping and praying that she'll come around. And
well, I hope and pray she does too.
She's been in this relationship with him for almost since last summer. So that's how long it's been going on with this other fellow.
So, did I hear that correctly? It's been a year, over a year?
It's been, since last summer that she's been involved with it. Yeah, so.
Okay. Over a year, and she's lived with him for several months now. First of all, my friend, I admire the fact that you love your wife as way that you do, and that you are trying so diligently to try to put this together. I don't hear any panic here, and that's good. People who can be calm are people who typically do the better things. I appreciate the fact that you have examined and researched and tried to find all the things that you can. You say that a point that some people might think you've done it too much. I don't know. I think only you've done it too much when it leads you to do things that are desperate and clingy and pressuring and those kinds of things. But it doesn't sound to me like you've been doing those kinds of things. In your prayers, if I may ask, what do you pray for?
Well, I pray for reconciliation. I pray for restored marriage. I was a virgin when we got married, and so she, I've basically given everything to her. And I've been married for 11 years this year, and I just love her to pieces, and it just breaks my heart that we're at this point, and I know that miscommunication can happen, and you can get upset. And now, mind you, before we got married, she had sort of a fling with someone when we were dating. So I guess technically it was the second time that she's been unfaithful in our relationship.
I see.
But we're talking like 9 years apart.
Well,
but
I'm so sorry, my friend. I hear the pain in your heart and in your voice, and I hurt for you. A couple of things, if I may. In your prayer life, and if you don't think this is valid, then certainly don't do it. But in your prayer life, one of my friends, she's an expert on prayer. She's written several books about prayer, and she's a prayer warrior. She said sometimes the best thing to do, in her opinion, is to pray the other person into the pigpen. And she's referring, of course, to the story of the prodigal son in the Gospel of Luke, that sometimes it might make sense, and particularly if you start looking at the way that some of the Psalms are prayed, Lord, bring in whatever it needs to happen to bring this person, in this case it would be your wife, to bring her to her spiritual senses. And I know that you don't want to cause her any pain. You love her. But sometimes to pray, Lord, bring about whatever situation you need to bring her to her spiritual senses. That might be something you want to add to your prayer. But again, you must do that on your own. The fact that you're going to have this meeting next week may mean that the divorce is going to occur. And I know it may seem kind of hopeless in that, well, she's already living with a guy, and if the divorce goes ahead and occurs, then what is to keep her from marrying him? And I just hope and pray that she doesn't. We have witnessed several times, and Kimberly, you can attest to this, we've at many occasions seen situations that seem so hopeless, and yet somehow they turn around.
They do.
I hope and pray that happens for you. If these things take place next week, then continue to have the same level of calmness and faith that you have now. And if, God forbid, she were to marry the other guy, you said that often God has turned around things at the last minute for you. But sometimes there are blessings waiting just out there. Now, I hope your marriage gets back together. We're not in the business of trying to help people in this marriage to get to the next one. That's not what we do. But by doing all the right things, I believe that you bring blessings. I actually officiated at a wedding of a celebrity couple a few years ago. And to the audience that was gathered there, because I knew each of their stories. Each of them had fought hard to try to save their first marriages. And I said, the reason that you have found each other and the reason that you were able to put this marriage together is because you were so faithful when your first spouses would not be. Now, I'm not trying to put your wife down. Don't misunderstand. That's not my purpose here. But to understand that a person who continues in faith to do the right things, we still hope and hold out hope that even if the divorce takes place, that somehow that thing ends and that somehow she comes back to you and you put this marriage back together. We pray for that. But that if it doesn't, that you don't know what kind of blessing God has out there because of the faithfulness you have. Now, I know that's not the message you want to hear. You want to hear, how can I put my marriage back together? But I don't know what else to tell you other than what you're already doing or have done to do that. Unless it is to maybe change your prayer life a little bit and then to remain faithful, even if it seems like that the deal is over, if everything is done, to remain faithful to see what God will do. Kimberly, what would you like to add to that, if anything?
God is a God who redeems, and it doesn't always look like we want it to, or how we think it should or would, or any of those things, but 100% echo everything you say in that God turns it into good somehow. Somewhere along the line. That's in Romans, right?
Romans 8:28. Chris, our hearts are with you, my friend. Is there anything else we can help you with right now?
I appreciate everything you both said. I guess one thing would be, what would you suggest just between she and I relationally? I've invited her to go to church recently in the last couple of weeks, and she did agree, and we did go.
Good.
And it was amazing.
Good.
And she hadn't been for months. So I guess this kind of being, toward the very end here, would you suggest that I maybe, reach out like that again in some way? I mean, what is it?
I mean, what have you got to lose?
What I can do that's left.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a magic bullet. I really don't. But what do you have to lose inviting her to go to church again? And if she goes, maybe the right thing is said. Maybe somehow God gets in her heart again, and then everything changes. I don't think it's ever bad or wrong to invite somebody to go to church. And now, if she rejects, that's fine. I mean, I know you're not going to push and demand, but right now, my friend, I would not look for the magic bullet. I would wait for the work of God, if that makes any sense to you at all.
No, you're absolutely right. Sometimes it's really hard to surrender.
Sure it is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I hope to get to meet you someday. You sound like a guy that I think I would really like to be around.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really nice of you to say. Merry Christmas to you and everybody listening. And I know we're all going through hard times. I want to say Merry Christmas Day today. So.
Same to you, my friend. Take care. My heart breaks for every one of our callers, but sometimes it just breaks more for a particular caller. And somehow Chris touched me here. We have a lot of videos. I think it was Chris, so several mentioned that they've been for the YouTubes. And people find our YouTube videos how?
YouTube, youtube.com/marriage helper. You can subscribe there. Be sure to subscribe because you will get notifications about all of the new videos that we're putting up. We have new videos that go up on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, and it's awesome content, if I do say so myself. At least Joe's is great.
Kimberly and I do most of the YouTube videos. We do everything we can to teach and help there. And also you can find our website, marriagehelper.com, or if you'd like to talk to one of our client representatives to see if we can help you, that's 866-903-0990. 866-903-0990. It's not a hotline, but you can get one of our client representatives, and he or she can listen to you and understand what you're looking for and tell you what, if anything, we have to offer that can be of assistance to you.